The Black Lotus is a card amongst several hundred others that they can never ever reprint in any form if we don't receive a response indicating exactly how they are claiming that we are infringing on their intellectual property. We will open minting on Monday, March 14th.
Paul here. Welcome back to the Crypto Factor. Today I have an exclusive story for you because we're talking to NOTSOFAST, which NOTSOFAST, he actually destroyed a card called the Black Lotus, made it into an NFT. There's so much legal things going on around that particular story right now, but I think the NFT is available. Black Lotus, thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it, man.
Thank you for being the first to speak with me about this, Paul.
My pleasure, man. And obviously there's no reason for me to ask you for your name and your history and, you know, how you grew up or anything like that. I see the anonymity here for your own protection. But on the 21st of February, you destroyed two cards, the Black Lotus card and another card. After that, there was a whole lot of legal trouble. You sacrificed it by destroying it to capture its soul and make it into an NFT. We're going to be talking about the idea. We're going to be talking about how you thought of this. We're going to be talking about everything. But let me ask you, simply put, what happened?
Well, we designed to create NFTs inspired by the Black Lotus and its lore. And we did a lot of prior thinking and deliberating to find a way that we understood to not be infringing on others' intellectual property. So this particular Black Lotus was a card that is physically owned by me, and it was the first one I ever got as a result of my success working within the crypto space over 8 years now. And I thought, because it's mine physically, I'm allowed to sell it and take pictures of it to sell it on the secondary marketplace if I so choose. And I'm also allowed to use it or use it up for something. And so as we determined what would be a strong, artistic, creative, transformative statement in order to create 10,000 different NFTs from this, we figured we need to destroy it. And so it took me a while to come to terms with that. But I realized that perhaps the story that's going to be built around this will be worthwhile to do, and it will inspire some discussion, perhaps transmute some additional value to the NFTs that we're creating. And it is referential to the original intellectual property, which we do not own, without infringing upon it.
Now, okay, I understand as a marketing player, I understand the certain more, I'm a marketeer, so I understand the concept. But generally, into my understanding, you probably know this better right now than what I do. When you buy a copy or whatever card it is, it doesn't matter what card it is, you don't actually own the copyrights to that card. You own the copy to that card. So you can't, it's like making copies of the same card to play a game. You just can't do that. It's like buying my book. If you bought my book, you can't make copies of it and put it on the internet. That just doesn't make sense. But at the same time, you're not doing that though. You're not selling copies of the card. You made your own art that was inspired by the certain card, which are not copies of it. Like how does this come in play? Because there's a very big difference here.
That's correct. What we aimed to do was go beyond something transformative, where we're using no prior existing element or piece of the original intellectual property. We don't even use any physical component of the actual card in the digital NFTs. You know, really, how could we? There's no bridge between the physical card and the NFTs that we created beyond the story that we're building around it, that we aimed to spark the building of around it, and that you and I are building together at this very moment. by virtue of simply discussing it.
How many Black Lotus cards are there out there, and how much are they worth right now?
That's a very good question. There are a few different editions, I guess 5. They were all created in 1993. There's an alpha edition, roughly 1,040 alpha Black Lotuses, or roughly 3,300 beta Black Lotuses, roughly 17,000 unlimited edition Black Lotuses, of which the sacrificed Lotus belongs to that set, and then approximately 12,000 to 18,000 international edition and or international collector's edition or North American collector's edition Black Lotuses, which have square corners and could never be used for play regularly. So they don't really count to some collectors, but roughly 21,000 playable Black Lotuses.
And how much is the worth right now? How much are those worth?
They go from
the one you destroyed. How much was that worth? And then tell me which one, the range.
The one that we destroyed is probably towards the lower end. I would say 20 to 30,000 US dollars. You'd be hard pressed to find one below 10,000 US dollars unless it was almost damaged and worn beyond recognition. The most valuable Black Lotus that has ever been sold for 516,000 US dollars in an eBay auction, I believe, just over a year ago.
That is actually some money in there. That's some pocket money and some change, man. How did can you still find a Black Lotus? Are there still in those little packs? Is it possible to actually find one, or is that an unknown right now?
That's an interesting story. The short answer is no, you can't. By virtue of a legal promise made by the company that owns the intellectual property, the Black Lotus is a card amongst several hundred others that they can never ever reprint in any form. They can change its function slightly and make a new card, but it's on a reserved list where, to preserve the value of collectors and the value of the secondary marketplace, which they can't really acknowledge, they can never print those cards again. Those cards, that's why the cards have gained so much value on the secondary marketplace.
So this is actually all quite interesting also, because this actually shows, it's actually paving a way of what the legal status is for NFTs here. So this, what you've done, don't know if you've realized this, but you've paved the way for not regulations, obviously, but understanding of what legal is, how NFTs are treated, how people can view them. So all this court case, it's still ongoing, yes?
Well, there's no court case just yet. And we hope that this doesn't proceed to a point where a court case would be required. We have received legal notices from representatives of the owners of the Black Lotus intellectual property, asking for us to provide examples of our NFT art so that they can make a determination whether or not it might be infringing. But we kind of understand that no matter what they review, they will tell us that they've found something that's infringing and tell us to cease and desist. And of course, once we create NFTs, those NFTs can't be uncreated. They can't be removed from the marketplace. They're there. They're on the blockchain. They are immutable. And so I think the company owning the intellectual property wants to prevent anyone else from referring to their intellectual property in any way until they can make a claim of their own for that space and monetize it.
Yeah, and make it I was about to say they're probably thinking about how they can make their own NFTs. If they're really smart, they'll let you go ahead and do it and use you as a marketing play. But let me ask you this.
Sure.
The company that's actually reached out to you, how did they find out? Was it a video or was it a word of mouth? How did they find out, and how did they find you?
From the very beginning, this project of ours has been publicly announced on Twitter. Everything we've done has been in the public eye. And so I believe they have a legal representative whose sole job it is is to scour the internet for potential instances of infringement and report it back to them. And this agent of theirs had already stamped out another potentially infringing project called MTG DAO. MTG DAO had planned to tokenize actual physical Magic the Gathering cards, one token for one card, and create a new scarce NFT based play format based on ownership of those cards. I think it was a very quickly thought of and publicized idea, and it got quite a lot of viral attention right away, far more than we've gotten so far. And the response from the owners of the intellectual property was very kind, but very swift in saying, no, you can't do this, cease and desist immediately.
So if it's your physical card, here's a question for you. If you have the physical card, right? Now you can't make copies of it. It's debatable if you can like actually destroy it, but what if you just cut it up in pieces and sold it piece by piece for a fraction of what it costs? What do you know? Have any idea about what that would happen? How that would work?
We did in fact think about that, and I know of another private project which sought to tokenize fractional ownership of another Black Lotus card privately amongst 10 other owners. And as far as I know, it's operated in secret and it's been successful because it's a private forward sale. And we could have created, physical art by chopping up the card and using a small piece of it in a collage or something, burying it at the heart of a sculpture or something else. But we wanted to do something digital with NFTs, and we wanted to explicitly not infringe by making a digital reproduction. And in that way, we hired Mankind, an Australian artist who created completely new original art based on his own interpretation of what the card meant and referencing a lot of his other prior work as well. He's never worked for the company holding the IP for the Black Lotus. And so we felt that we would be not only beyond a transformation of the original physical card, but completely different, creating something completely new.
Got you. What was the second card you destroyed? I saw in the video, because I watched the video, and I saw you had two cards. You had a test card and the Black Lotus card. What was the test card?
That's right. The test card is a beloved favorite of players of this game. It's called a Soul Ring. It was also published at the time of the very first Black Lotus cards. And it is not on the reserve list. It is still printed multiple times a year, even today. Copies of it are still worth $1 or $2, no matter where you find them. They're used in almost every deck of the most popular format of the game called Commander. And the one we destroyed, the value was maybe a couple $100.
Right. Do you still hold that destroyed card, or is that also with the Black Lotus, or where are those?
The destroyed Soul Ring is in my possession. It's my memento of this whole story.
Are you selling it?
Not yet, but I might auction it to raise money for legal funds to pay my lawyer.
That makes sense. And the physical card of the Black Lotus is?
It's in a gaming store in Canada.
Okay.
That's where I'm from.
Got you. I understand if you don't want to disclose where it's from, which gaming store it is, of course. But you are from Canada. Great place. Some of the best people in the world, man, I've met are Canadians.
Thank you. I'd love to visit your country someday, actually.
Destructive tendencies towards card games, but they're very nice people. I would love if you ever visit, man, hit me up. I'll show you around. So the ones that are left, the Black Lotuses that are left out there, did the value go up since you destroyed the card? Have you checked?
That's a good question. I don't believe that the destruction of one card was enough to significantly affect the current marketplace. There are a lot of other factors in play. Many other Black Lotus cards have been destroyed through the years because in the early 90s, when they were around and used in play decks, they were used in play without protective sleeves. They were washed in the pockets of young kids' clothes and destroyed that way. So we don't really know how many more are on the market, but the destruction of this one alone shouldn't affect the marketplace too much, except perhaps through second order effects. For example, the threat of follow-on projects or others destroying their cards to do the same thing.
They should have made a rule where when you play a card, you actually destroy it. That would make.
Do you know there's actually a joke Magic the Gathering card where you have to tear it into pieces in order to use it?
There you go.
Called Chaos Confetti.
There you go. There you go. So what's next? What's going on with this whole hypothesis right here?
This is a good question. As you may know, and as followers of our project may know, we had to pause our timeline while we assessed the legal claims made against us. We responded officially with our representative, and we are waiting for a response back. Once we receive that response, we'll make a further judgment. But if we don't receive a response indicating exactly how they are claiming that we are infringing on their intellectual property, we will open minting on Monday, March 14th.
March 14th. Okay, cool. How would somebody go and buy one of these? Because I'm also interested.
We had hosted a crowd sale on the platform mirror.xyz. At the time, people could pledge Ethereum in return for interim ERC20 and Lotus tokens. The only way to mint a Lotus NFT is by spending 105 of these M-Lotus tokens. There is currently no market for M-Lotus tokens, but prior to minting, we will seed a liquidity pool so that pledgers who didn't get enough can buy a few more. Pledgers who got excess can sell back their excess, or people who want to back out of the project can sell everything they have, or people who want to enter at that time can buy some.
So this is a very innovative way to actually sell NFTs. I'm not sure if it's ever been done before, to be quite honest with you. How did you think about this and how did this come in play?
We wanted to do a FOMO-free, slow, and equitable way to first understand the complexity of what we were doing, give time for other people to learn about the story and discover the project, and slow release information to create more attention and a better build-up, hopefully to a large scale of attention. And so we thought, this is the right way to do things. Only one other project has released NFTs via batch auction before. It was a project done by the principals of SushiSwap, and it was called JPEG's Automart, where minters created 2007 Kia Sedonas as NFTs. It was quite well executed, except for one flaw in the contract, which allowed someone with admin keys to drain all the Ethereum that the project raised. There was no such danger in our project. They ran the risk of something like that happening, being the pioneers of creating a batch auction to sell NFTs. Fortunately, we did not incur any such risk, and as our minting schedule has been paused, all of the Ethereum raised has remained in our project's multi-sig wallet.
Got you. Now you're hoping to settle with this case. So you're hoping to settle, but are you willing to take it to court? Are you willing to fight for this?
This is a good question. We would prefer not to have to endure a court battle, simply because we and our counsel strongly believe that we have not infringed. We spent a long time designing this project in a way that would be tribute while not infringing in the least. And we believe that the allegations made on us constitute an overreach. And while we are all big fans of the game and the company who creates it, we very well understand their need to protect their intellectual property. We support it. For some of us, our livelihoods are connected to it. I'm a collector. I'm heavily invested in this company's intellectual property. I would be angry if someone contravened it deliberately. We set out to deliberately not infringe on it. So while I understand their need to protect the outer borders of their intellectual property, I believe we haven't trespassed on that.
But are you willing to take it to court? Are you willing to fight for that if that's what it takes?
This is a question I can't answer yet. It would require a significant amount of resources, a significant amount of time, and of course, the toll on one's personal time and stress is a factor to be considered as well. I believe that the public relations aspect of this would be inadvisable for them to bring it all the way to court. I think it would simply be a better choice for them to release their official NFTs of whatever they want. And they are invited to squash us with the competition of their official NFTs being much more desirable than our unofficial ones.
Got you. Is there anything you would like to add? Is there anything you want to talk about to the audience watching you right now on the Crypto Factor?
Thanks for the opportunity to speak freely, but I am only wanting to express my sincere gratitude for you, for your attention and willingness to discuss this with me, and for everyone else who's following along with the story. Because at the end of the day, the story we're creating together around this lore and this piece of lore, this valuable object, is the most important and interesting thing, no matter the outcome.
Thank you very much. I hope to have you back after for an update and see how things are going. And I'll leave links down below to your website, to any information people want to find out about what's going on, what this project is, and so on. Really appreciate you, Not So Fast. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much, Paul.